talked just a little bit more about your leaving town. You left town right after Man on Wire.
But actually, it was actually the weekend that it was released. I kind of chose it. It was slightly coincidental, but it felt right. It was obviously symbolic. You leave the film behind and see what happens to it.
Sure.
Given the nature of the film itself, and given it's a film about New York, I lived here for almost 14 years. Yes, I literally went from here. I went to London and went into pre-production on Red Riding, which it was obviously filmed in the north of England, in Yorkshire. And that felt like my job on that film was to really clearly understand the story and distill that story. And so I did, some quite a lot of shortenings in the script, and I did also look at the ending of the script and slightly version the ending. So I got caught up in making it mine, I guess, that way that you do, taking a big piss on the script. And making sure you recognise what the smell of it, as it were. But that said, the writing was wonderful, and then the job became to as clearly as possible put this on the screen.
In hearing you talk about it, it seems like there's this sort of willingness to serve the story, a willingness to make the film that is most appropriate. That is not necessarily you're bringing James Marsh's baggage.
No, I wouldn't presume to do that. The very act of choosing. Which I've been fortunate enough to do, choosing the film that you make, feels like that's the important personal choice. Okay. And once you've made that choice, for me as a director, it's the story then imposes on you, and you have a duty, if you approach your work the way I do, to kind of find out what is the best way of telling that story.
You're sort of going back and forth between documentary.
Yeah, no, that wasn't by design, but it certainly it feels like a very good way of working. I made Man on Wire, which obviously has quite a few dramatic elements to it. I mean, in terms of how the film, was shot and filmed and put together. And then I went to Red Riding, which is, pure drama. And now I'm now doing a documentary film that again will probably combine some elements of visualization and reconstruction and storytelling of that ilk with conventional, or hopefully not too conventional, documentary kind of paradigm or structure. But it's a very, documentary is there's a very different skill set involved, even though what you're doing is trying to reach the same objective, which is to put something on screen, literally, that's alive and moves and works, but actually the process of making a documentary film is actually much gentler than a feature. Features, you do this 6-week, fairly tough production period where everything is done at that time. Whereas in a documentary, you have a chance to make good on your mistakes often. Okay. Thank God, Okay. So in that respect, it's a kind of gentler process, but intellectually, it's much more demanding because you're at each step of the way, you're making it up essentially. So on an intellectual level, you find yourself much more stretched, and it's much more down to you. Whereas in a feature, you really are collaborating with so many other people who are really helping you do what you need to do.
But the way you make documentaries, though, are not. It's not like you're going out there and getting a lot of footage and then.
No, I'm a kind of phony documentary filmmaker. I kind of know roughly what I want before I start.
Right.
Well, I know what the story might be, and I pursue that until I've got reasons not to pursue it. Man on Wire and the film I'm making now are very, very narrative-based. They're about, finding a way of telling a great story, or a powerful story. So the film I'm doing now is very much of that type. It's a really strong narrative. It has all kinds of surprising turns and reversals, and a very strong emotional kind of level. It's about a chimpanzee. It's good that we like you, Jeff, because if we didn't, we could have some sport with you now.
I know.
As you walk back defenselessly.
I am in your hands.
Yeah.